lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Matt Williams got a brilliant start from the third row of the grid.
He's gone, he's hit him, he's straight off at the chase.
And a half-second lead. Oh, with the scissoring car in the background.
He has it. Oh, he's round on the last lap.
There's a massive accident.
Next to the inside, what a move, what a move.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful Wednesday night in Melbourne. Here we are for round 2 of Automoblista Australia's OZTCAC Retro Championship. I'm Chris Riddell, and with me, as he has been throughout this series, Michael Zalavari. G'day, mate.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everybody. How are we this wonderful Wednesday evening?
It's absolutely fantastic. We're about to see some beautiful sim racing. I love this time of the week at one of my favourite tracks, Winton Raceway.
No! Sorry, I had to get that out.
We'll get to that in a moment. But before we start, there's a couple of shout-outs we'd like to make. We've got a good turnout, but there's a few drivers missing tonight who we're not going to have racing with us.
Yeah, we're a few short. Well, I say we're a few short tonight. We've got 16, but we are a few down on what we had last week. Firstly, one of our series admin, Mike Coulston, stuck in a work meeting, which is unfortunate for him, but I hope he's following along, and we're missing the Saudi Camel tonight. Another one missing from our racing tonight will be, I think, Steve Bolger, who is suffering some internet problems. So classic Australian NBN strikes again. But on a more serious note, we got Brian Walsh, who will be taking an extended leave of absence from sim racing due to some family circumstances that he needs to take care of. So we're thinking of you, Brian, and we hope to see you again soon. But as always, family comes first with this sort of thing. So I hope you follow along, and we'll hope to see you again soon.
Very well said. So we'll move on now. As I mentioned, we're talking about this race at Winton Raceway. Now, if I can get my mouse to work, there we go. Let's have a look at this track in detail. I can get my mouse to work, there we go. So, it's 3 kilometres on the knocker, 4 left-handers, 8 right-handers, and it's a tight technical track that's got a bit of everything.
It's got a tiny bit of everything. It's got a passable bit of everything. For those who...
I feel like I've opened the door here. Go on.
For those who have followed mine and Chris's V8's podcast, which we're taking a little hiatus on in the past, you would know that I really don't like this track. And for me, it's because there's one good section, and that's the turn 4, 5, 6 complex. And then the rest of it, if I was say John Watson, I call it a bit Mickey Mouse. It's a bit stop and start. You're on the throttle, off the throttle. It's just there's no flow in this track, and that for me that just makes it angers me to watch cars around here.
Well, you talked about 4, 5, and 6, and that is a great part of the track. Long sweeping left-hand corner into a hard braking zone to a hairpin. I love turn 1 because turn 1 is a guaranteed spot for action because. Go too wide.
Because no one can get it right.
Yeah, no one can get it right. We've seen incidents there. We've seen the old Holden Racing Team 3 cars crash each other out at that corner. We've seen there's always action there. Around the I was going to say the oak tree again. That's Virginia. Gum tree.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not right.
Yeah, around the old gum tree in the back of the circuit. And the last couple of corners are actually really interesting to me as well. They're slightly over 90 degrees, a couple of hard stops, and they really encourage you to send it up the inside.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, we've had this discussion before in our own forums, but I just don't. It's not a track that gels with the way that I like to watch racing. I like to watch things where you get, encouraged to commit more, and the more you commit, the more you get in returns. I like those fast sweeping sections where you can set up cars to pass on the end with a tight hairpin, like for example turn 6, 7. I like that sort of stuff. Here it feels like as soon as you get into the nice sweet range of the engine where you want to be putting the power, you got to brake again for another corner. It's just it's just like It's like the blue balls of racing circuits. Is Winton.
Probably the dumbest thing about this track though is the pit exit.
Yeah, well, I don't like. Honestly, I don't know where you could put the pit exit in a part that works well. So pit exit comes out literally in the braking zone for turn 1. So you either get in the way of everyone steaming into the braking zone at 200 and whatever kilometers per hour, the fastest part of the track, or you stay out of the way and cut the track on the inside. I can't see a solution there. It's kind of like Barbagallo's pit entrance almost.
Well, there is a solution to that. That's use the motorcycle one, but I digress.
Yeah, right. Duh.
Okay, so we're about 12 minutes away from qualifying. Before we get to that, we should have a chat about what we've seen from last round. We saw an absolutely dominant display by Brenton Hobson, which sees him atop of the point standings at the moment with a maximum 50 points.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way you want to start a new series after taking the previous one. 50 points is just a really nice, easy way. And he's second in the championship is his own teammate, Scott Nolan. So the SSR Racing guys, very, very well placed after one round of the series.
Yep. And third place at the moment, admittedly one round in with 9 more to go, is Will Devonish, followed closely behind by Oz Rob, Steve Bolger, and Lime Mitch.
The important thing about Will Devonish's position, though, is that he came out of, where were we last week? Donington Park, with a pair of 4th places. Now, that's important because it means he's got no extra weight this weekend. So what's the deal with the podiums from last round and the weight addition?
So the top 3 from each race get a weight penalty of 15, 10, and 5 kilos. And the bottom 3 finishers from each race get a weight break of 15, 10, and 5 kilos. So coming into this race today, we've got Brenton Hobson carrying the maximum 30 kilo from the first round, Scott Nolan carrying 15, Lime Mitch carrying 10, and Oz Rob carrying 5 for his 3rd place last week. And
then on the flip side, down at the bottom of the championship, we've got Rhodey carrying 25 kilos less,
which he normally loses in body panels every race.
Yeah, probably needs to lose another 50 kilos, to be fair. Yep. And then it's Camshaft with 15 kilos less. I think that is...
Cam
Rutledge. Yep, that would make sense.
Who had an absolute shocker.
Yeah, 21st and the 17th from his 2 races. No thanks there. And then Brian Walsh and Glenn Miles with 10 kilos less each. The important thing about those weight breaks is that you have to finish the race to get the weight break. There's no good DNFing, as Brian Walsh found out in race 1. Pardon me.
Yeah. And you talked about not making sure you actually finish the race. We actually saw quite a bit of carnage from the first round of racing, and it's going to have a flow-on effect to what we're going to see in about 10 minutes' time with qualifying here.
Yeah, so there's been a few stewards rulings from race 1. What I'm most surprised by is that the big restart penalty, the big restart fracas saw 0 penalties. I was so surprised by that. I mean, to be fair to those involved, it was a bit of a yes, no, yes, bang sort of deal with cars going off everywhere.
It was very much a cricket-style run-out, yes, no, sorry.
Yeah, basically, which is a very apt description considering I've got the cricket on. Anyway, I should focus on this. But we've got 3 people going to be starting at the back for race 1 today. So firstly, Daniel Rasmussen is going to be starting at the back for his hit on Scotty G on the 1st or 2nd lap, I think.
Of the last corner, yes.
Of the second race. Yeah, these are all from the second race. The second one is Will Devonish forcing Scotty G off the track. So Scott G had a torrid lap 1 because that was also on lap 1. And then the third one, we commented on the stream. Brenton Hobson and that light touch that sent Joyner into the wall as he was entering the pits. So that one got a little bit of a slap as well. So those 3 guys, they'll all be qualifying tonight, but they'll all intentionally be DQing themselves from qualifying. So that way the series or the Automoblista AI sets them in their grid positions at the very back of the grid.
Excellent. Speaking of which, let's go have a look at Hobson now.
Them.
Yeah. Let's go have a quick look at the on-track actions during the last 7 minutes of practice. Checking out one of the guys you mentioned here, Brenton Hobson. He's showing he's still on pace, even though there's weight penalty, but he's a second down on Rasmussen at the moment. Pace around here would be about 141, 142.
Yeah, about that. And Rasmussen apparently had never done a lap before this on this track before this week. He was asking how do you set up a car for Winton last week. So he's definitely pardon me, in practice. Currently he's 8/10 ahead of the field. And some of that will be due to the fact that Hobson's carrying that extra 30 kilos. But to be honest, Rasmussen's looking a little scrappy. I've been keeping tabs on him through this practice session, and he's gone wide a few times at turn 2. He's made contact with that tyre barrier there. So he can hook it up on a lap, but getting it consistently right is going to be the more important thing once we get racing.
Yep. So we've got about 6 minutes left. Most of the drivers looks like they're just chilling out, waiting for the action to get underway. There's Scott Nolan in the number 18, that beautiful Porsche. Why do you love Porsches so much?
I mean, can you look at them? I don't know. It's just something that I've always liked. I like the shape. I like the heritage. I just like Porsche. I love the sound as well. I love the sound.
That I'll give you.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I just love Porsches. But in this field, there's a bunch of cars that I love actually. The Alfa Romeos. I kind of have to be on board with the Alfa Romeos as I'm checking out Lime Mitch in ninth.
I'm trying to get you on there.
Following around. Yeah, following around Daniel Rasmussen. I think Alfa Romeos have just become a new favorite for me, and partly is because I've owned one now. But yeah, they just look like a bucket of fun, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. What about you? What cars of this field do you identify with the most? Which ones of these retro machines tugs at your heartstrings?
I mean, for me, unleashing the inner bogan in me, the Holden.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. And you're not even Australian.
I know. Well, when my stepdad was teaching me how to like race cars, he was always a Ford man.
So that means the Escort then, yeah?
Yep, the Escort. So the Escort was a really good, cool car. Escorts are like Fords. I've pretty much had it throughout my life until I got my Astra recently. But tell you what, that Dallara. Not many people realise that Dallara actually made road cars.
Yeah, I didn't until this series either. Now, Dallara is a name that you and I both know from sports car prototypes, making more chassis and that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So I'd never realised that they'd actually made a road-going car. And it's a pretty cool one at that as well.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's none of them on track. The only example I can find is Rhodey, so not the best example.
Mitch Hathaway's in Dallara as well, isn't he?
Oh, yes, he is. But
yeah.
Again, not on track. But yeah. I mean, it's got the typical Italian styling. But we've never really seen it on
the field. In fact, the bulk of the field are between 1.8 and 2.8 seconds true as well. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those Italian auto companies are a bit incestuous, aren't they?
They are.
Except for Lamborghini, who got in bed with the Germans.
Fair. Yeah, well, no, don't make that joke, Chris.
Yep. Good thinking. Yeah. As I saw, did I see Scott Morrill loop it in the pit lane? I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Looks like everybody's sort of making their way out for one last run on track. On that note, we'll take a very quick break and we'll be back for the start of qualifying. And we are back. Just having a quick look here at the Jaegeru Motorsport of Machine of Rody and that beautiful Dallara. God, it's got a crazy wing. Now, Michael, you want to have a chat about this track because I know it's not your favourite place in the world. And we see a perfect example here. The curbs here, they're monstrous.
Yeah, they are, especially in turns 1 and 2. They are definitely something that you need to consider while setting up your car for this place. There is, of course, a lot of slow corner stuff in the back end of the circuit that you need to worry about. The curbs, especially at 1 and 2, you've got to make sure your car is stable over them. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in that tire wall at turn 2. And we see that in real racing terms. We've seen that plenty of times in the V8s. But also, earlier tonight, I noticed 1 or 2 cars going off through that section because they didn't ride the curbs well. So watch that, especially on the first lap, especially straight out of the pits, as Rody clears the curbs on either side. Yeah.
And I was watching before Turmo coming through the back half of the circuit. Basically got his Commodore on 2 wheels.
Yeah, and that's the thing. All right, you want to keep the car as planted as you can, but you're going to be giving away time if you're not using the curbs. So you got to find that sort of balance between jumping on the curbs and losing a bunch of time because your car's unstable, or not using the curbs, taking a wider line, and then ceding time to the guys who are going to be coming through behind that.
Exactly. So it looks like we're just getting ready to go now with the next session. As my game just has a momentarily lapse of thinking about what it's doing. There we go. Thank you, game. So qualifying 3 laps, 10 minutes. As we see Cam Rutledge just absolutely doing a massive burnout in the pit lane. Thanks, Cam.
Yeah, so I did ask about this because I noticed while we were in a break, Scott Morrill spinning. Oh no, actually I noticed that again on stream. So apparently, in order to get these cars moving, you basically have to floor it. So that's their excuse. Their excuse is to get them moving, they have to floor it. So that's why they're all spinning it out in pit lane, as we've got Rutledge, Nolan, and I think that's Scotty G, the first few cars in the row. Doesn't stop me making fun of them, though.
No, of course not. It just looks hilarious. Just waiting for the green light now. And away we go for qualifying.
Yep, so remember qualifying outlap 3 time laps and an in-lap for a total of 5 laps and a maximum of 10 minutes. As we mentioned at the top of the show, we will be seeing Brenton Hobson, Damien Rasmussen and Will Devonish at the back of the grid, regardless of their times in this session. At Winton, we're talking about the timing sectors. Sector 1 will be from the front straight start-finish line through to turn 5. Sector 2 runs from turn 5, the trio of hairpins, through to just before, I think that's turn 10. And then sector 3 is turn 10 all the way through to the start-finish straight.
Awesome. There we go. So we talked about 142 being the ultimate pace.
Unless you're Damien Rasmussen.
Yes. It's going to be interesting to watch him come through the field, that's for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a trip. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how much do you think having the weight penalty would hinder you at a place like this?
I actually think more than you would expect. Because it's a lot more slow speed sort of stuff, you are putting a lot of effort into overcoming that inertia, like especially through sector 2 where you've got those triple hairpins. You've got to move the weight of the car all the way around while accelerating and braking it to get through that section. So it's probably going to be a bit tough. If I was Hobson, I would be glad that Winton is round 2, not round 8.
You're really something carrying 200 kilos.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like carrying 2 of you in the car.
1.5 of me, actually. As we see Cam Rutledge coming around to start his first flying lap. And behind him we're going to have, looks like, Scotty G behind him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how he looks through turn 1. This is a notorious hotspot, but he's clipped the apex here in 1 and on 2 quite nicely, actually. And it's important.
Did a very good job.
Yeah, probably could have taken more curve on next. Oh, Scotty G goes backwards at the back there.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it?
No, it did not take long. This is very tidy so far from Cam. As we're coming up through to the triple hairpin section at the back. Sector 1 time.
Cam will set the first sector 1 time for the group, and it will be 35.9. So we'll keep tabs on how that evolves throughout the qualifying as he gets a little bit of a lockup heading into the first of the hairpins at turn 6 or turn 7, I think that is actually. Really interesting lines through those hairpins. You can kind of take as many apexes as you want because the way that they kind of flow into each other means you don't have to worry about, cutting that last apex short to get that run onto the straight. It's actually Scott Nolan who's got the fastest first sector time at 35.6 now, further down the field. Cam will be coming up to break that second sector marker soon, and it's a 112.5 at the second sector mark. We saw times the second sector down into the 110, so I don't think this is setting the world on fire for Rutledge as he comes up for the last section of corners.
The last section, which is basically just point and squirt and turn in for a couple of tricky corners. Probably got a bit more curb than he'd want into the penultimate corner, and especially over the last corner as well. That will probably compromise his time a little bit as well. Looks like it might be a 144-ish.
Oh, look at that, 44.2. Good on you. Rasmussen's on a cracking lap. He did a 35.7 second sector, so he's going to set the world alight as he comes through. Whereabouts is he? I can't see him at all.
Rasmussen's just done 142.1.
Yeah, and Turmo a 142.2.
As we're looking at Rhodey here being actually causing problems for the OzRob machine behind him. And
if Rhodey was smart, yeah, and he is, and he just kind of idles his way out as the cars all stream past him.
Which is a bit of a shame because he actually compromised his second lap there.
Yeah, well, he was on a hot lap as well, is the thing, and it's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. If you don't jump out of the way, the faster guy's going to be mad, but if you do, you're not going to get a lap in. And with only 3 laps, and this is what, a 3-kilometer circuit, you do need to get a lap in. They got 3 chances at it, that's fine.
That's true. Looking at Mitch Hathaway here, that Aussie male livery just looks really good on that car.
It's a good hark back to the older days of the V8s, isn't it? I love that livery, the old Brad Jones cars.
And he's actually got a decent time. He's 6/100ths up on Rasmussen coming, but he's just come up onto Rhodey, so that's going to cost him.
Oh no, we're so mean. We're so mean to Rhodey.
Well, he actually went to go around and unfortunately got on the dirt.
Scott Nolan's looking pretty good at the moment. He's 111.1 to the second sector, fastest first sector, which has been outdone by OzRob. Second sector is pretty close to purple. I think Turmo's just put in a purple second sector as well. So as Scott Nolan comes around the last corner from 4th position, let's see how far up the grid he can find himself. He's actually right behind Turmo on track, so they'll be setting times pretty close to each other.
There you go, second place.
Yeah, there you go.
Under 2 tenths to Rasmussen in front. Turmo, that's a lot of curve, buddy.
Hey, he got through. I also want to have a quick check up on OzRob. Fastest first sector. Second sector, not too shabby at all.
Came across the line to 3rd place.
Yeah, there you go. So corrected, with Rasmussen sent to the back of the grid, it will be Nolan, then OzRob, then Turmo will be your top 3 at this stage.
Very nice. Cracker hasn't set a lap yet at all, like a decent representative lap time. Which is
that Cracker?
Yeah, 15th place.
He's only had 1 flying lap, so let's not jump to any conclusion. I think he had a spin based on his lap time, a 57.4 being what he's set.
Well, I'm jumping on board now with the Batmobile.
Nice, I like that we're going with that.
Yeah. This lap's definitely going to be a big improvement. Just how much an improvement, we'll find out in a few seconds' time. A 144.3. That's a bit better, Cracker.
Nice. That's good. That puts him, I think, a few positions ahead of his teammate, as we've got Turmo off the road at 5. He's going to come off. No, that's not 5. That's about 8, I think. So that was the yellow flag in the middle.
That's the Scott McLaughlin line.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Also, Brenton Hobson hasn't gone out the pits yet, so he's relegating himself to last spot on the grid. No choice.
Not necessarily. Because the 3 drivers who start at the back just get randomised.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I think Rasmussen's going to put in another flying lap here.
Turmo's doing his best to stay off track. He's just done 3 quarters off track.
Fair enough. So Rasmussen had a purple first and second sector, and then 5 seconds slower in the last sector. So I don't know what's going on with that, but there you go.
Maybe because it doesn't matter. He's just going, look what I can do.
To be fair, that's something I would do.
Yeah, but that's because you're a prick.
A little bit.
Looks like we're winding down. Most cars will be on their final run.
Oh, Scott Morrells spun it in the last corner, and he sent, I think that was Turmo off into the pits behind him. So that's really unfortunate. Oh, well, Turmo wasn't on a good lap anyway, so that's fine. But
just looking at Stewart here, he's one of the last drivers to complete his third final lap and is still down to 14th place, 5 seconds off pole position there. Coops coming across the line, 147.4, he was staying 13th. Scotty G's done. Cracker has a 143.7, that puts him up to 8th place. Good lap from Cracker.
Yeah, while you were doing that, I was trying to see what was going on with Luke Joyner. Luke Joyner's only set one flying lap, then he's coming to the pit, so he's happy with his one flyer.
As we see a blue Porsche doing a bit of drift action there.
Yeah, well done, Scott.
Yeah. Oh, I'm guessing because it's all done and dusted, they can all sort of stop with that. So, qualifying, looks like we're going to have a Scott Nolan on pole, Ozrob on second place, Turmo in third, Devonish in fourth.
Devonish is going to be at the back of the grid, so I'll actually be Morrell in fourth.
Morrell in fourth, yes. Then you got, was it Michael Hathaway?
Matt Hathaway.
Matt, the other one, Matt Hathaway.
No, Mitch Hathaway. No, Anne Hathaway.
There we go. There's the qualification coming through now. Thank you for making our job easier. So yeah, Nolan from Ozrob, from Turmo, from Murrell, from Hathaway, Cracker, Luke Joyner, Cam Rutledge, Lime Mitch, and Scotty G rounding out your 10.
Beautiful, good mix there, and the gap isn't as big as what I was expecting it to be based on the practice results. So hopefully the cars will be closely matched on track, and it'll be very interesting to see those three quick guys, Rasmussen, Devonish, and Hobson, come through the field in this first race.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back for race 1. And we are back. We've got about 5 minutes now until we get started for race 1. There's been a bit of motorsport news going on lately, hasn't there, Michael?
Yeah, firstly, close to home, we've seen just today, in fact, the cancellation of next year's F4 series, which has been, I don't want to say unsurprising, but a lot of the issues with the series were based around costs and entry numbers. And after watching them at the Bend a few weeks ago, I'm not surprised, unfortunately, that they've pulled the plug.
How many cars started the races you watched? You were
so it was a 4-race weekend at the Bend. There was 7 cars entered. Oof. And after a first lap incident in the second race, I think only 5 cars made it to the last 2 races of the weekend. And on a 5 kilometer track, it's not a good spectacle.
No.
That's like one car per kilometer.
That's pretty poor.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where Cam's tried something new and different to try and elevate a new sort of open wheel series to run it as a feeder series, but it just wasn't the right fit for the Australian market.
Well, the problem is down here, the development open wheel series that people come to down here is the Toyota Racing Series.
Yeah,
which runs
the
for
Toyota
6
Racing
weeks.
Series is quick, aren't they?
Yeah, and which runs for what, 6 weeks in January and February. Perfect time of year to come down. Short, compact window for people just to show off their wares. Stretching out a Formula 4 series like Cam's did, it's easy to sound high, but it was really not going to work. Especially when cars are expensive as they are.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's meant to be a sort of entry level open wheel series. At least that's what it's being sold as, right? It's being sold as a step up into entry level Formula. So it's like, I think Formula Ford with a D, fills that entry level niche already. And the thing is, there's not really any sort of open wheel elevator in Australia. You kind of got Formula 4 and then a Formula Ford, that is, and then what? You kind of have to go out and start looking overseas.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Super 5000 fits when that gets going.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. And they'll have their debut round Super 5000. I think it's next weekend or the week. It's either next weekend or the weekend after, where they're at Sandown for Shannon's Nats at Sandown.
Awesome. And typical, they put it on a weekend where I'm away for work. Great, thanks guys.
Wow.
What else is happening in the world of motorsport? Well, we had a big weekend overseas for us.
Yes, yes, we did.
Yeah, the first round of season 8 of the World Endurance Championship.
Yes. So for those who maybe aren't aware, both Chris and I are pretty heavily involved with the World Endurance Championship subreddit. In fact, I'm one of the moderators over there.
And I'm one of the
we actually
guys
had our... Pardon?
I was going to say I'm one of the guys who just hangs around like a bad smell.
Yeah, you're one of the people who's just always there, so we kind of just accept you. Yeah. So we actually had our subreddit's logo placed on a LMP1 car for the first time. So we're actually a part of the Janetta fan initiative thing that they're doing. And so yeah, our subreddit sticker was on a damn LMP1 car. That's yeah.
In other words, we're on one of the pinnacles of motorsport. Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean it's a Janetta, but still pinnacle of motorsport.
They'll get better.
Yeah.
They did not have a good first race. Let's be honest.
No, it was a lot of sort of teething issues, a lot of really sort of clumsy problems. You could tell they hadn't done it for a year. It was like trying to watch a roadie run a race.
Tell you what,
no, we love you already.
Yeah, hey, and I've had great battles with him in Forza when I've been racing with him.
Oh, he races in Forza as well?
Yeah, he's racing in my series at the moment in Forza.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Oh,
anyway.
It was a great 3-car battle that he had with myself and another guy on the weekend.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, that week, so the WEC race, Toyota won in P1.
Of course, yeah.
But the other classes were actually quite interesting.
They were. It was a very surprising debut win for Cool Racing. Cool name, Cool Racing. Who's like long-time prototype runner Nicolai Lapierre's. That's like his own team. And then in the GT ranks, it was Porsche's brand new car that took a 1-2. And then in the GT-AM category, it was the return of one of the guys who'd won the series a few years ago, who came back and won the first race straight away after a few years in prototype. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
And the next round for them is in 6 weeks' time. Is that correct?
At Fuji, 6th of October.
Awesome. Weekend before
Watch out for that one. Yeah, that's good. Good that it's not clashing this year.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're about ready to go here with the first of 2 races this evening, 25 minutes. 1 compulsory pit stop, all that jazz. 2 tyres or 4. Fuel as well, if you're need it. What are we going to see for this race one?
3-car pile up at turn 1. Calling it now.
Okay. I was going to say...
Too bold?
Normally, yes, but for Winton, it's not out of the question at all. Especially with the quick guys at the back.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm not most worried about, but Winton's not really a place where you can just sort of force your way past because it is so Mickey Mouse, because it is so stop-start. You kind of need to plan your moves 2 or 3 corners ahead of time. So you can't really just bomb it down every single corner and expect to be getting away with it. I mean, when we had the V8s here, we saw 5 or 6 very harsh 15-second penalties for trying to do exactly that.
Oh,
So
we're not having a warm-up, like we're going.
Oh, whoa.
And we're away. Okay. Great start from car number 18 with the Ozrob pulling in behind and car number 91. So Porsche 123 into the first corner. And Scott Nolan's going to take it out at the moment.
Oh, there it goes. There's Cameron Rutledge. He spun around from, I think, 12th place. And that's him down to the tail of the field. And we knew it was coming. And there it was. It looks like he just got on the curb and then got a tap or something. And he's around.
Meanwhile, I'm looking here at Cracker Rasmussen, who's already up to 11th place, mind you.
Wow.
And Devon's in 12th.
So they're going to try and run side by side through turn 5. Good luck with that.
Yeah, no, that's not a place you can run too wide, no matter what you're running. Even Aussie racing cars would struggle with that.
Yeah. But at the head of the field as they come into the first of the hairpins, it is Scott.
Sorry to interrupt, but Devonish has just got it right to the backside of Scotty G, and Scotty G car is not looking all too healthy in the left rear corner.
Do you want to have another look at that? Because I missed that.
You missed that? Alright, just wait for them to guys get through this corner and we'll bring that up on the instant replay, shall we? No, we can't, because I've done the dumb.
Kiwi!
But yeah, it was nothing significant, and Devonish hasn't gained a pace from it, so in the end, no harm, no foul.
Okay, so at the head of the field, as we come up towards the end of lap 1, as they come through the last pair of corners, it is Scott Nolan from Ozrob, from Scott Morrill in the top 3, a trio of Porsches. Then Mitch Hathaway up in 4th. Lime Mitch up 4 positions into 5th. Termo, a poor start from Termo down into 6th. And then Hobson's going straight in the pits for the end of the first lap, taking the CPS early. Then Luke Joyner, Cracker, Rasmussen also diving into the pits. And then Will Devonish, I guess, now rounds out your 10 as they come through to start lap 2.
Well, that's frantic.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, where was the warm-up lap? Oh, we're going to go through the grid and everything. Oh,
yeah,
well.
yeah, that's why I was talking BS and suddenly I heard the beeps, like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Lime Mitch is right on the back of Hathaway's tail, coming into 5. And tell you what, he's looking very tasty here. And a great start from Hathaway, I've got to be said.
Yeah, very, not surprised, but...
Whoa!
Oh, Mitch!
Whoa!
And we made mention of the high curves and Mitch's experience that firsthand. Wow.
Oh boy. So that's going to cost him 4 or 5 spots by the time he gets back. Might just get in front of Devonish. Yes, he will.
Yeah, that's going to almost put him back to where he started. Now he's in 8th. Is Devonish going to make the move? Not quite. So 8th position there, and that was a bit of a wild ride. So
That was.
That actually releases the pressure from Hathaway really nicely. And probably a good thing too, because Hathaway was looking a little vulnerable there. I know it's early doors, but Mitch was looking very quick. There was a good battle developing there, but now they've all sort of spaced themselves out at the front. So again, Nolan, Rob, Murrell, Hathaway, Termo, first of the Tiranas, and then it's Joyner and Cracker immediately behind them. Cracker's actually pretty impressive at this stage of the race in 7th position.
He's gained 3 or 4 on the start as well. As Devonish takes a look up the inside of Lime Mitch coming through to the second to last corner. And if he holds him on brakes, we'll get that move done. As Lime Mitch decides to go into the pits.
Yeah, probably a wise call there if you're on the outside already and you need to take a stop. Might as well just get it done.
Exactly.
Hope he's sorted out what he needs to do for the stop before he gets into the pits, though.
yeah. So he's gone into at 11th place. Oh, they've still got the AZ signs up. Remember that from when the Supercars tried that for half a season?
I'd rather not, thanks.
Looks like the battle up front's getting tasty.
Yeah, I just noticed, in fact, Ozrob last lap 7/10 quicker than.
Whoa, sorry.
Around.
Nolan's just gone around.
He's in turn 5, and that's it. That battle was very quickly over.
Does it count as a commentator's curse if we jinx it before we get to it, or when we get to it?
Yeah, I think it still counts as the commentator's curse.
And
I'm tracking back and having a look at what happened. He just went wide in the weeds and looped it around. Oh,
and he's coming out behind Devonish in 11th place. He didn't even go that far off track, but he's lost a bucket of time.
it was a pretty rookie mistake as well. It's so innocuous out there, and that's the thing, because we're keeping the track conditions evolving, not like we had last race where we basically reset it at the end of practice because we were changing tracks. There's a lot of rubber build up on the outside of that turn 5, and yeah, he's just put a wheel off into it and he's just gone around.
Yeah, we're looking here. Rhodey in 12th place, just getting passed by Cam Rutledge. That's actually... Nope, he decides better of it than defending on the brakes into turn 8. That's probably smart.
Oh yeah, but Rutledge is one wide, which gives Rhodey the run back around the outside. And yeah, and because Rutledge spent so much time in the grass, he wasn't able to put the power down. Oh, he's gone for a dive though!
A lot of curb. Almost parked him on exit there. And yes, he's going to hold him through to the final corner.
That's pretty ballsy, actually.
It is.
There's an interesting battle developing now between Scott Murrell and Mitch Hathaway for second and third. That gap as well has come down over the last few laps. Again, 6/10 the difference that last lap around. So I think the cars that are a bit lighter and a bit more, a bit shorter, in fact. So the Dallara and the Alfa Romeo going to have a bit of an advantage here because of the way that this track is, because especially in this middle section, which is all what am I trying to say? All hairpins as Hathaway gets a slide on.
I mean, we know that the Dallara was a good rally car, but not like that.
Yeah, not like that. It just seems like every time I try to say something, someone goes off. I was gonna say the shorter wheelbase should make it easier to corner and easier to turn these cars, but apparently not. Apparently you can still slide one of them out.
When you got that much horsepower on the rear wheels, it's pretty easy to spin.
This is true.
Probably back down to 8th place here. Cam Rutledge is just ahead of Stewart in the second of the Cracker Racing Team machines, the beautiful Porsche. The John Player Special Inspired livery. Oh, that was a livery and a half, wasn't it?
You love it. Some of those cigarette liveries, though, were pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just a shame what they're advertising.
This is true.
As the
every car we've gone to.
And okay, stop the race. Rhodey's in 9th.
What? No. Amazing stuff. As Scott Nolan dives down the inside of Stewart as well, so he's on the recovery road. And then look who is in 12th position already.
Hello, Mr. Hobson. Nice to see you.
It's not even that far. He is only about 5 seconds away from the tail of the field, and he's already made that pit stop. So Brendan Hobson getting out in clean air, he's gonna charge these guys down as they take their pit stops. It's just gonna happen. It's inevitable.
They're gonna have to play some funky strategy and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, when you're up against the likes of Brendan Hobson, you kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, aren't you?
Yeah, true. Just looking at the back of Hobson's car, he's been centre punched as well.
Hard to get centre punch starting from last position, but yeah.
This Hobson, he probably wasn't last by the first corner.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Lion Mitch is in the 13th. Everyone's still running at the moment, which is good. Did Rasmussen pit?
Rasmussen has pit, but I wonder if something else has happened, because he's just at the fastest lap of the race, a 41.1, but he is 13 seconds off the back of Coops, who, remember, got that drive-through off the line, and 17 seconds down on Glenn Miles, and then 20 seconds down on Luke Jordan. So unless he's had to pit again, or if he's made a mistake and gone around, because that's a big gap. That's a bigger gap than you'd expect.
Also, I'd like to take this moment to call out Glenn Miles for that hideous graffiti he's got on the back of his car.
What has he got?
I can't go faster because it's a Ford. Get knotted,
I don't
mate.
think that was his doing. I think that was whoever made his skin. I think I remember seeing that.
It was Brock Harvey who made it, who we should mention is not here this evening.
Oh, Brock! Oh, that's a shame.
But yeah, that makes sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would.
So Luke joined as the sole MHRT guy, and he's down to 14th at the moment.
He's about to gain a position though, because it looks like Scotty G's in the pits. So if he can get out ahead of, sorry, if Joyner can get his skates on, he might get out ahead. And there he goes.
Here we go. Yeah.
So
10 minutes.
So that early. Go ahead.
No, you're right. Go.
So that early pit stop strategy might end up paying dividends, because by getting out of the traffic and getting out of these little squabbles, you might be able to just calm yourselves down and run a better, cleaner race. So I think if you look through the field, the guys who have had spins, the Nolans and the whereabouts is it? The Murrells, they're many positions away from where they should be. And whereas if you look further back, the guys who have got the clear space and have been able to just set laps, cleaning them up very quickly. Yeah. The thing I'll be interested to see though is how much does the tire wear, leaning on the rears as you're going through a bunch of these short, sharp stabs on the throttle, if that actually starts to kill the tires at the end of the race.
Particularly in these cars where it's all just rear-wheel drive. And which is a track that's... It's not the hardest on tyres, though.
Yeah, but...
You might be able to make it work.
We saw a few guys having difficulties with keeping the cars on the road last race at Donington. So if the tyres start to go away... Remember, we are doing 2 times tyre wear and 2 times fuel usage.
Too true.
We could see a few guys spinning right round like a record player, right round.
Record baby, not record player.
Oh, potato tomato.
You
know what I meant.
I did know what you mean. And I know Scott Murrell also knows what you mean, because he's on an absolute tear at the moment around the outside of the Batmobile. Jesus, that's a move.
Did he get it done? He got it done.
He got it done because
there's a spin.
Yeah, the Porsche facing the wrong way on the track.
Right at the apex too.
And he's beached. And I think he's beached.
Beached is Brew. Really?
Getting to him. Yeah, he is beached on the curb.
Oh no.
Can he get it off? He's inching slowly. He might get it off, but this may require a safety car potentially.
There were so many opportunities for me to say phrasing in that I'm just gonna. And we're seeing the guys at the front dive into the pits. So Ozrob from first, 11-second gap. He's now in the pits. Devonish is going to be the next one, and
he's into the pits.
Murrell will be the next one in that queue. He's actually made it ahead of Hathaway as well on that module. And
he keeps going.
He stays out. Murrell stays out. Cracker goes into the pits. Is he still stuck on that curb?
He is, yes.
We might need a volunteer, say a roadie or someone, just to sort of give him a bump, give him a helping hand.
Yeah. Maybe not roadie, because roadie's in 12th place now, so...
Oh, okay. Well, maybe not a roadie then. Maybe... I don't know.
Should I mention... Brendan Hobson's in 7th place at the moment. 6th place now. He's just got past Nolan. And he's about 5 seconds away... Hang on, what's going on here? My ticket broke.
So Nolan's just come to the pits.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So Hobson's into 4th place already.
Outstanding.
And he's only...
Go ahead.
He's only 3 seconds behind Ozrob too.
Yes, and that's actually a real battle for position, because Ozrob has made the pits already. So that's where Hobson's has been spat out after taking that pit stop in the first lap, as we cross just over half race distance here in race 1 of TCAC Retro Round 2 at Winton.
Coops has officially retired from the race.
Oh, that's a real shame.
Yep. Much like a beach.
Not a good race for Coops after a first jump start penalty. And just quickly, Devonish has actually dropped down to 7th after his pit stop. He got outdone by Lime Mitch on the just after turn 4 there. So maybe not the best pit stop from Devonish, and best strategy rather, just getting dropped out just behind Lime Mitch.
I think that was just a case of unfortunate timing more than anything.
Yeah, most likely.
I would, but Devonish on slightly fresher tyres, you'd back him to get past the Alfa Romeo.
Well, that's the thing, right? You've just come out of the pits on fresher tyres. You'd want to keep that car behind you so you can make use of it. So now, because he's lost that position to Mitch, he's going to have to use the tyres to get back ahead of him. And that might mean that he can't use those tyres further to progress further up the grid later in the race. So that loss of position might prove to be the story of Devonish's race.
Meanwhile, going up to third and fourth place, the Porsche party is about to get real. As Murray's in the pit, so this is now the on-track battle for the lead.
Yep, so Hathaway and Morrow both pit that lap. So that gap, which was 3 seconds when Hobson came out of the pits a lap ago, is now 1 second as they start lap 9. And Hobson's looking ominous, isn't he?
We knew he would, but I don't think he'd be up here quite this quickly.
It's as I said at the very beginning, it's an inevitability, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like we just have to lump him with another 100 kilos just cause.
I'm okay with this.
Because that went so well last time.
It did. I mean, he still won the race. Won the race.
Won the race.
Won the race. One with a wabbit.
The Wascany Wabbit won the race.
Oh, he's actually just dipped a wheel off in the dirt there on the exit of turn 6. So that gap's now just spreading a little bit between the two. But on the whole, Hobson just looks ominous, doesn't he?
As it is written. Looking through the field, looks like Lime, Mitch and Devonish will be on each other for fourth place at the moment as well. There, as we see, the Playboy machine currently parked up as well.
He's gonna get that car going again if he wants to lose some weight.
Yes, he will. He's got it slowly. There we go. And he's just going to keep it nice and clear of Cracker and the rest of that motley crew. And let's roadie
Jumping back up to 4th and 5th. I think you're right. Devonish is all over the back of Lime Mitch now. So it's gonna be tough. Lime Mitch isn't gonna make this easy to pass as they bound over the curb at this penultimate corner, use all the exit road and even some of the pit lane. And Devonish tries to use the curb to get the run on Lime Mitch there, but he bounced it out too far, I think. Which means that he doesn't get the preferable line down the straight, and Lime Mitch is able to hold off Will for another lap. But Mitch is giving a lot of curb away there, and Devonish gets a great run that time round. And is the move going to be on here at 3? He thinks about it.
Not quite, but just a bit too far back. You get to go through here the sweeper through 5 and 6 and 7, and you got 3 hairpins. The problem with the hairpins is you can fight back again.
Yeah, and with Will just getting the slide on the exit of turn 4, he really didn't want to do that because it's compromised his run down into this section. But he's not close enough to set up the dive all the way.
You were saying?
He goes down the inside.
What a move!
Has he managed to hold on to it? No, he's left the space. I wonder if there was some contact there. So they're still side by side as they go through the middle hairpin. And Devonish is going to take the inside line through turn 9. Is he going to be able to close the door on the outside line? Mitch gets all over the curb on the exit there. They're going to drag race into the inside of turn 10. Lime Mitch has got the inside line again. He's going to take that position. He's going to hold it. Is he? Yes, he does. Okay, they managed to make it through that section. I wonder if there was a touch. I wonder why Devonish didn't just keep his foot in there.
I reckon it was just traction. Lime Mitch just got a bit of run off the corner, I think. They didn't look like they actually came together at all. They almost came together. There's a both thumb sideways out of the last corner. And that's just giving Lime Mitch just a little modicum of breathing room with 6 minutes to go.
Woof. Ooh, great racing for a change at Winton.
I want to check out up front, but I'm too scared to leave this battle. We'll see how it goes into turn 3 if he's going to send it down the inside again, and not this time. Although he did think about it, but no. Wise is up to the idea, and turn 4 back side by side. Oh, line of stern, I should say.
Much better run that time from Will Devonish. He got all 4 wheels very nicely planted in the exit of that corner. So if we were saying he might not be close enough to make the dive last time, he's definitely.
Oh, he's sending it down the inside now. But no, he thought.
Crisscross is on. Crisscross is on. There he goes. And he's down the inside, and he should definitely be able to make this one stick. And yeah, there he goes. Gets the traction out the other side. Yeah, so as Lime Mitch went wide in turn 5 to try and hold that inside line, the crisscross was going to be on every single day of the week. And Devonish has seen that. And he set it up 3 or 4 corners in advance. That was exactly what I said earlier in the race.
That's what you got to do here. As he gets a little bit of oversteer on exit, but I think he's finally got that move and he should be able to make it stick from here. Meanwhile, I want to go up front because that's getting very tight very quickly as well.
We've got a yellow flag
we have.
at that section of the circuit.
We have. Not quite sure why at the moment. Can't see anyone off track.
Oh, there's a car off in the background. It's the Glenn Miles machine yet again.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like he's missed the pit entry.
Oh, dang. I said this was getting close. It's now 2 seconds, so Hobson's obviously had a bit of a mare coming through to the final sector.
Yeah, so just looking at the lap times from last lap, it was a 42.5 versus a 42.9, and most of that was in the first 2 sectors of the lap. So Hobson, he's looking pretty scrappy. I've got the aerial view from my end now, and he doesn't look like the car's very settled as he tries to get through that first section of the lap.
Yeah, that's a little bit unusual. Maybe that early pit stop, because he was the first to the pit, so tyres might be starting to go on a bit quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, that might be it. As he runs wide in the middle part of turn 7 there, and he's brought that gap back just a little bit, but I don't. At this stage, he'd have to get a full-on second wind because he doesn't look as if he's got the flow, as if he's got the groove quite there at this stage.
Which is a shame. Also, I've just noticed Roddy's plummeted down the order to the 15th, so he's had a bit of an issue.
He might have just had his pit stop.
Yes, no, maybe. Yes, maybe. No, I don't know.
He's getting blue flags at the moment. He's just ahead of the pair of leaders, Ozrob and whereabouts am I looking? Brendan Hobson's Roddy. Yep. Very nicely stepped aside for the bloke.
Yep. Come on through, gentlemen. It's very, very smart driving. Get out as Flood just tries to pass away on us.
Sorry, it's my throat's trying to inhale itself.
That's always fantastic when it does that. Will Devonish has pulled away from Lime Mitch here. He's got a good couple of seconds on him now. So that battle's pretty much done and dusted with just 3.5 minutes to go. Can't see that resolving any other way. Luke Joyner's in 6th place currently, just about to start his 13th lap. He's got a couple of seconds off Scott Murrell. Looks like, yeah, the only battle on track really is in 9th place at the moment between Cracker and Rasmussen.
Yeah, everyone's sort of found their own little bit of space. I want to keep some clean eyes on Rasmussen because if he manages to clear Cracker, he could very well get Hathaway and maybe not Murrell, but at least Hathaway as well. So, yeah, that battle for 9th and 10th could prove to be the battle for the rest of the race.
Absolutely. And they're coming across the Playboy machine as well, who no doubt get as far out of the way as they can. Yes, he does so nicely. Thank you, Glenn. Whoa, Rasmussen of 2 wheels. That's those curbs again biting you.
He controlled it a little better than Liam Mitch did earlier on the race.
That he did.
Yeah, he must have taken one of those stunt driving lessons like you see at the Royal Show wherever you are around Australia.
Yeah, or if you're lucky enough to go see Surfer Boy. What's his name? I've just had a complete mental blank. The guy who races for HRT.
Don't know who you're
Warren Luff.
There you go. While we've been filtering that out, Rasmussen takes a little bit of a peek down the inside of Cracker. Doesn't make the move. Thinks better of it. Last lap, just quickly, Ozrob sets his best lap of the race at 41.9. So
sorry to interrupt. Rasmussen's taking a look down the inside of the second to last corner now, and he's going to just get it done. Is he? Not quite. The Batmobile got a bit squirrely on exit to get the power down, but was able to hold out for one more lap, and we've got 1 minute 24 to go. So this should be the second to last lap.
Oh, I'm going to just pull your attention away. The battle for 6th position. Sorry, Scott Murrell versus Luke Joyner. That one's really closed up in the last stages. Murrell's set some really good lap times of 42.5 versus a 43.6 last time round. So that battle's just closed down in an instant.
And while you're talking, I've gone back to that battle. Now, while you're talking about that, Rasmussen just drove around the outside into turn 1 and got the position on
Of
Cracker.
course, as you do.
Yep. Ooh, they're both very late under brakes in. I think they've both missed the apex by half a mile there.
But Morrill got the drive back on the inside, so he's going to have to hang it wide through the middle part. But if he does that, he's going to be rewarded with the inside line for that last of the hairpins. Is he going to be able to get up the inside? No, he has to back out of it. I would have stuck the nose up there. I would have been much more aggressive with that position, especially with just under a minute left.
Just let him know you're there.
Yeah, exactly. So Luke Joyner holds on for now, but as the guys...
You were saying?
Oh, no, he doesn't. He spins it at turn 10, and that's all she wrote.
Oh, that's a shame. But don't get it beached. Oof. So that's going to put him out into 10th place behind the Batmobile.
Yep.
So
that's a bit of a shame.
That's a shame. So we're looking at here, where are we? OzRob. The time has expired. OzRob is coming through now. Where is he at? Coming through to
He's
turn
just
5.
going to go through turn 5, yeah. So we'll have this lap plus another one to go. Just quickly, I have noticed that we've had Scotty G retire from the race. I'm not sure why that was, to go along with Coops earlier on as well.
Shame. You don't like to see people retire, especially this close to the end of the race.
Of course.
Shades of Carlos Sainz in the F1.
Was it Saints or Norris?
One of the occurrence.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not get bogged down in crappy racing series. We've got a good race on our hands tonight.
Ouch. Shade.
He's throwing. Great drive from OzRob, it's got to be said.
He's just controlled the race. It's been from the very first lap. He's just been able to control the race, set his pace, and he's going to get rewarded. Hopefully, fingers crossed that we don't commentators curse him. Watch him spin at the next corner. He's going to take away a race win, I think.
Because we haven't done that enough today. Commentator curse everybody. As we just see the play, Jack then might take another off-track excursion. But looks of things.
I thought that was Rutledge actually, but yeah, taking the shortcut through turn 2.
And OzRob coming across the line now to start what will be his final lap. Good 3.5 seconds ahead of Brenton Hobson, who's 5 seconds ahead of Turmo. Great drive from Turmo as well.
Yeah, Turmo, we saw glimpses of it in the TCAC series. We saw glimpses of what he would be able to do. But today with this race, he has finally put it together, and he's just been very good. It's no fuss about it today.
Rasmussen may get 7th place as well, just looking at how close he is to Hathaway. Let's get back there quickly. No, he's probably too far back. But that is our closest battle on track currently.
It is just under a second, and which is less than one mistake. So all it will take will be one little mistake, one little oversteering moment for Rasmussen to come past. But although he was one of those first lap pitters as well, so he might be struggling on tyres at this end of the race.
Most likely. Where are we? Oh, Scott Murray. Oh, that's Roddy. There's a lap down car. That's not a battle. Okay, we'll go back up to OzRob now. He's just round Cracker to put him, not Cracker, Cracker's teammate to put him a lap down.
Stewart,
yep. I don't know how I get the two cars confused. They're different makes. OzRob coming up to the second to last corner to take what will be a great victory.
Yeah, as I said from the very beginning, just controlled the race. He was under pressure early from Scott Murrell and from Scott Nolan, but managed to see both of them off. He kicks up a bit of dust around the last corner and comes across the line to take the first race of this night at Winton, round 2 of TCAC Retro.
Second place is going to go to Brenton Hobson. Third place will go to Turmo. Great race by Turmo as he tries to spin it across the line. Oh, nearly done. Right on. Fourth place, Will Devonish. Another great fight through the field from him as well. Fifth place will be Lime Mitch in the Lime Alpha. Scott Murrell's going to hold on to 6th place as well. Mitch Hathaway in 7th place. And Rasmussen's disappeared a bit from him as well. Maybe those tyres did go away at the end.
Let's have a look, see. No, he made a mistake. 100% made a mistake in that last section.
So Rasmussen, you coming home in 8th. Luke Joyner in 9th place. And Cracker and the Batmobile in 10th.
And then rounding out the rest of the race, it will be Scott Nolan and Cam Rutledge.
Scott
who
Nolan's out
will
of fuel, or going really slowly to save fuel.
Oh no! Oh no! We're not this again! Not again! Not after last time.
Uh-oh. He's
Is
coming.
he gonna get there?
Come on, Scotty. Come. Nope. He's...
Come on.
Come.
Oh no!
No, he's fine.
gets it going.
He just blocked us.
He wanted to spend some time at pole position.
He did.
Remembering where he was.
Yeah. Cam Rutledge drops place, and Stuart's already in pit lane, and that is race 1, nice and done and dusted.
Woo. Oh, great race from Ozrob. Well-deserved victory. Brenton Hobson, again, up however many positions you want to throw at him every bloody time. In fact, we've actually got both of them in the booth already. Rob, congratulations. Race 1 dominated from the very beginning. How'd you feel about that?
I feel pretty happy, to be honest, but I was hoping to actually have a bit of a fight with Scott early on, but I put some pressure on him, and he failed, and I took over, and it was pretty, well, I wouldn't say cruisy, but just had to keep it on track. I wasn't really, after the pit stop, I wasn't really sure who was behind me from SSR boys, but obviously it was Hobbo, but I just had to keep my head down and just somehow just stay in front and manage to pull away, so happy with that and see what happens in the next race.
Yeah, well done. It might have been our fault that Scott Morrow spun it around. We gave him the old commentator.
We gave about 5 or 6 commentators curses that race. So
yeah, that new car that the series made for us, it's definitely working. Did you feel under pressure at all after the pit stop? Because the gap closed down pretty quickly after that.
A little bit. But I thought it might have been Hobbo, and then I thought, oh, maybe it hasn't stopped yet. And so maybe it had to stop, and then it was kept going and going. I thought, maybe it has stopped. So I just had to do my lines and just try it fast as I could, and manage to pull a gap. So can't do too much more than that. Yeah,
you did a great job. Dominated the race, controlled the race. Well done, Rob. Second place, Brenton Hobson. Mate, we just can't put you anywhere without you getting to the top of the field. What's going on?
No, that's the plan. That's the way it's meant to be, right? Got to get to the front.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, we did say it was inevitable at the beginning, and right. How does the extra 30 kilos feel, though?
Awful. It's not too bad. I mean, I think that the weight will be less of an issue in these cars as it was in the Lancers, because being rear-wheel drive, you can sort of throw them around a bit more and drive. Perhaps you can sort of drive around it a little better, I think. But I mean, I can certainly already tell, even at just 30 kilos, that it certainly makes it a little bit tougher. I mean, I had nothing for Rob there at the end. He was just that little bit quicker every lap, and I could see where I was losing it in the last 2 corners, those 90-degree right-handers. And I mean, this is nothing much else I could do. I couldn't go any deeper under brakes, and I couldn't get off the corners any quicker. So I mean, it's just the way it is, and it's a little frustrating. But I think it'll be less of an issue this time around.
Yeah, fair enough. Early pit stop for you. Was that a plan that you put in, that you were thinking about before the race to sort of get out of the drama?
Yeah, it was. That was always the plan, was to come in at the end of the first lap and get clean air so that I could just run, good consistent laps. I almost didn't come in because we sort of landed in a bit of clear air in 7th, I think it was. I couldn't believe that we ended up that far forward in the first lap, but stuck with the plan and didn't really get held up much with traffic. So apologies to Stuart. He tried to let me go under brakes into the second last corner, and he slowed up way more than I thought, and I punted him off. So
no.
We'll see what happens with that. But other than that, we really didn't get held up with traffic. So the strategy to come in early and get that clean air worked out for us. We just couldn't quite get to the front.
Yeah, well, you're just making it harder for yourself next time around, aren't you?
Well, that's right.
You start from the back of the grid again. And we also got Will Devonish in here. Will, decent race for you. I think that's your third fourth. Are you going to go for the set of 4 fourths in this race, or are you going to go for better?
No, I'll be conservative and stay 4th again.
Just keep the weight off.
Yeah.
Yeah, good battle between yourself and Lion Mitch at the end there. When he passed you after your pit stop, what was going through your mind? I thought it might be a bit of a death knell to your chances at the podium there.
Oh, I'll be honest, I had no idea he was there, and he just slipped around the outside. I was like, oh crap! And then my tires took forever to warm up, but he had obviously pitted a lot earlier, so his tires died off and was able to slip by. But yeah, it was a good ding dong battle for a bit.
Nice. So, are you planning on sneaking this championship at the end of the series when everyone's taking those weights and you can just sort of jump in with a bunch of first places right at the other end?
Yeah, why not?
Sounds good. Cool. Congratulations on fourth place and good luck for the next one.
Thanks, guys.
So that's all
Alright.
from me. Chris, what's happened next?
Well, while you were chatting, I just had to show bloody Scott Murrell spinning out on a warm-up lap because, you know. So
Okay.
this is what I do. We'll take a quick break in a moment, but before we do, we'll talk about the calendar because the next race, I'm unfortunately not going to be here for, but it is at one of our favourite tracks, Sandown.
Woo! I do love Sandown. I've been to Sandown actually.
You have, with me.
Actually, not with you.
No,
Ooh.
sorry, with marshalling. I just picked you up
Yes.
afterwards.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Sandown. Sandown it's got a really nice combination of that flowing section at the back end of the circuit down the hill into Dandenong Road and that chicane. Really tough corners in the first part of the lap as well. I don't know why I like Sandown more than I like this track, but I do.
And that's on September 18th, so yes, it'll be hopefully Michael and someone else commentating that one. I'll be back on the 25th for round 4 at Curvallo,
Nice.
and then we'll be.
And why are you leaving us, by the way? Why can't you just be a full-time commentator?
Because unfortunately, I have to go do sports commentary at an actual sporting event.
Oh shit, really?
No. I wish it was commentary, but no, I have to. I'll be at work, so at the National Youth Games for Touch Footy.
Ah, nice. So if you're at the National Youth Games for Touch Footy and you see a big, loud Kiwi guy, it's probably Chris. Say hi.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of loud Kiwi guys, so it's Touch Footy. What do you expect? So the season's going to wind up end of November at Santa Cruz do Sol, which is a track I've never heard of.
We got a weird mix of fortnight breaks and week breaks. So just we'll keep an eye out for when we are racing because it's a bit all over the shop.
Yep. On that note, I suggest we take a quick break. We'll be back momentarily for race number 2.
Nice. Got through the first session.
Lunchtime.
Overrate of 12.5. Are you serious?
That's dreadful.
Mm.
Has Archibald yet
Yeah, he's bowled a bit.
to Smith?
Yes, he has.
Ooh, and he hasn't bounced.
Yeah, it's a little bit, not hey, a little bit. We talked a little bit about last weekend's motorsport action. Do we want to mention Hubert?
I think we kind of have to, don't we?
Yeah.
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 Yep. All right, we'll come back in a moment. Just give me a sec to figure out why YouTube's having a brain fart.
Yes, he has, because you're piloting it. Hey-o.
And we are back on that snort from Michael.
That's not my fault. That's your fault.
It's my fault for not being able to count. Now, we're about to get going with race 2 anytime now, but there's something we do have to talk about, unfortunately. The world of motorsport suffered a great tragedy on Saturday, and I feel like we do need to discuss it.
Yeah, so if you've been living under a rock for the last week, there was quite a large accident at the Spa-Francorchamps F2 race on the Saturday, which ended up taking the life of a 22-year-old driver called Antoine Hubert. Now, I wasn't watching the race. I only saw the follow-up reaction from literally every corner of motorsports, but it's never a nice thing to hear about, well, deaths and injuries in any sort of sport, let alone the sport that we love so much in motorsport.
Absolutely correct. And I did watch the race. All we saw on the broadcast was parts going in every which way except forward on the racetrack. There was a suspicion that it was serious, but which is why obviously they threw the red flag. It's a shame. It's a shame because he was actually one of the real up-and-coming guys. He'd won races in Formula 2 this year. He was part of the Renault Academy. And it was rather fitting that it was actually close match with Charles Leclerc, who actually ended up winning the race F1 the following day.
Yeah, and I guess it's fitting that that's a debut win for Charles. That can't have been easy for him to back up the next day and to race in front of Hubert's mother, who was actually at the race as well, and to be able to go through all that and come out the other side with a race win. That's something he's never going to forget, but not for all the right reasons.
Unfortunately. And I remember reading something like even people like Daniel Ricciardo were like, I don't really want to do this race today.
Really do want to do it? Yeah.
Really don't want to.
Oh, don't want to. Yeah. It's one of those things. People react to tragedy in different ways. Like for some people, they would want to power through it and they'd want to do the race anyway. They'd want to do it and they because it's what they love. It's how they process these things. It would be their way to tribute. But then, yeah, on the other hand, for some, it would be a bit of a shock to the system. I think everyone's a shock to the system. I mean, even I who have not followed F2 and have not really seen the accident and don't really know who he is, have felt that it is a shock to the system. That's the thing with racing, and it's just a dangerous sport, isn't it?
It is. It's a bit. I mean, at this point, we should say we definitely pass our respects on to the motorsport community, especially Anton Hubert's family and friends and everyone who knew him. And we wish everyone all the best. But motor racing goes on, as we must today, with our second race, our 35-minute race about to get underway.
Yeah, remember in this race, it's a random grid. So as we're going through, we're going to see where everyone pops up. So it looks like we've got Scotty G on pole. Second place will be Rob. So he's been rewarded with his good work with race 1.
Yep.
With the second place. Turmo in 3rd. Glenn Miles in 4th. Damien Rasmussen 5th. Cam Rutledge 6th. Mitch Hathaway 7th. Rhodey in 8th. Cracker 9th. Scott Merrill 10th. Lime Mitch getting absolutely flash danced from behind in 11th. Stewart in 12th. Scott Nolan 13th. Will Devonish 14th. Brendan Hobson 15th. Coops 16th. And we do get a warm up.
Oh my God.
Okay, sure.
Sure. Excellent.
Whatever.
Okay.
We went to all that trouble to go through the grid real quick, and we get a warm up lap anyway.
Excellent. So, Rob's incredibly happy with this, no doubt. Hobbo, look, he can come through the field. You can put it a lap down. He'll probably win the race the way he's going.
Yeah, he might not want to now. He's already going to take an extra 10 kilos. He might not want to take another 10.
15.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Who else has won out of this? So Glenn Miles starting in 4th place.
I think Turmo as well, 3rd place for him. He's got the only person ahead of him that would be a trouble would be Rob.
Yep.
And then behind him, it's not just behind, but it's a long way behind the likes of Devonish and Hobbo. So I think he's going to be pretty happy.
Yep. We've got an Aldalara row 4, Hathaway and Rhodey.
Oh, good luck, everyone behind. Sorry, we love you, Rhodey.
We love you. We also just love ripping the absolute you-know-whats out of you.
Yeah. And I think further back, I think Scott Nolan he's going to struggle here because he didn't have a good race 1. He had a lot of problems in race 1, spins and the like. So from 13th, he might struggle to come forward.
And Hobson 15th. You got to wonder just how random this all is. Sometimes
it's good for us. It's good for us, definitely. We'll get a show definitely today.
That is for sure. So 35 minutes, a little bit longer. I reckon with the way we saw the tyres fading in the end of race 1, would it surprise me if people don't necessarily gamble with 2 tyres in this race?
Yeah, might be good to do 4, and it might be wise to sort of break up the race a bit more evenly.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see guys coming in first lap or the first 5 minutes. I think it'll be more like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the race, we'll start seeing guys come in.
Absolutely.
But we'll all find out very soon.
We'll see what happens there. Of course, there could also be the HSV safety car that comes out to play.
Yeah. And just quickly, cricket update for anyone who cares about the cricket. 92 for 2 Australia at the end of the first session. So, good times all around.
Excellent. And spoilers if you want to watch that later.
It's fine. It's test cricket. There's no such thing as spoilers.
True. So Scotty G, they're taking his pole position. Rob crawling slowly into second. There he goes. Looks like we're all gridded over at the back there nearly. Just waiting for the last couple to come in, and we should get going anytime now for what will be a no doubt exciting race 2. Waiting for the lights. Here we go. And we are away. A great start from Scotty G, not so good from Rob. At the back, Turmo is going to have a wee look down the inside of Glenn Miles, and Rasmussen as well into 4th place. Rob gets into the back, a little bit of Scotty G, but no real harm done. Out the back we have carnage.
Big fracker out the back. Cars are spread everywhere there. Don't know what's caused it or what's happened. It seems like everyone just split. They all got through at the end, but out of that, Hobson's gone up to 10th already, and he's going to get Rutledge as well. He's going to be 9th after turn 4.
Okay, well, I've got my replays working, so let's go check out what actually happened there. Looking at Cam Rutledge here, so, oh, geez, that was a mess. The Aussie male Delara sort of just got into Rutledge, and then everyone just sort of pinballed off each other. So
everyone ended up facing the right way, though, which is the important part. And they all managed to keep on racing, and the field is continuing to race all the way through now turns 6 and 7. And I think, whereabouts am I? I don't even know where I am anymore. So Scott G, he's dropped down to 3rd. He's going to probably drop down to 4th here as Rasmussen gets a nice run out of that hairpin. He's going to slot in just behind Rasmussen. And Is he going to be able to defend from Hathaway, though? I don't think so. So Hathaway's now got the inside line. So Scott G, he's out of the groove here. He might drop even further spots from his front row on the grid start.
Meanwhile, Oz Rob's just checking out front. Tell you what, Scott and Merrill might even think about this too. Maybe not yet. As we just saw a bit of tyre smoke from Turmo as they come round to complete lap number 1.
So your field, as they come over lap number 1, is Ozrock, Turmo, Rasmussen, Hathaway, Scotty G just ahead of Murrell and Devonish and Cracker. And then Hobson already up to 9th, his teammate Nolan in 10th. Then it's Rutledge, Rhodey, Stewart, Coops, Lime Mitch. Lime Mitch with damage, it looks like, as he comes into the pits. And Glenn Miles down 12 positions from his start in 4th place.
We talked about Scotty G being out of the groove. He's just been passed by Merrill and Devonish. He's got a bit 2 wheels on the grass outside of turn 2, which we see quite common at Winton.
Yeah, and he's already under pressure here from Cracker, who's under pressure from the 2 SSR cars as they come through the sweeper at turn 5. Scotty G, he's got a tiny bit of breathing space, probably enough to... Oh, he hits the curb there, though, and that might undo it as he gets forced wide into the sweeper. Actually,
but Hobson's going to have a cracker as Murrell goes wide and he's going to lose everything.
And G goes wide as well, so it's just everyone's clamping up together here as they manage to file their way around the first of the hairpin. There's 3 SSR cars in one shot. Great for the photographers around this virtual circuit if you're into that sort of thing. Now, they all glide out the exit. So Scotty G lost 4 positions in 3 turns there as he drops down to now 11th place.
Now, Scotty Nolan's been passed by his teammate, which is, as we've seen, Cam Rutledge taking a scenic route through turn 10 as well.
And Murrell went wide there as well and ceded to Devonish and Cracker. So he's struggling at this early stage of the race. He outbrakes himself.
That was the last of the late breakers, but I think he got to pay the postage on that one. And he goes into the pits.
Hobson into the pits as well. So and Oz Rob into the pits.
Ooh.
First, the leader in the pits. And then it is Hobson and Murrell. So a trio of Porsches in the pits on this second lap. And we've got a car off. It's Lime Mitch. Don't know where he is. It looks like that might be turn 2 or 3. I don't know what's happened there.
Well, given he's driving with one wheel, I think that's a lag out.
Yeah, maybe.
That looks like a lag out to me. Given his car had one wheel on the car while I was watching it. Out front,
yeah.
Out front, Turmo is just ahead of Rasmussen. I feel like we're watching the Tirana Cup again.
Those are the days, weren't they?
Oh, weren't they what? When cars were cars and... I don't know.
Drivers were drivers?
Something like that. Rasmussen thinks about a sneaky look through the first of the hairpins. Ooh, reckon he might have just given it a wee nudge. And doesn't go on with it. As they come through turn 8. Coming up to 9 now. And Turmo...
Are you sure you're not stuck on replay?
Nope.
No, good. Okay.
As we see a Porsche off in the background. Who was that? Nolan! Scott Nolan has beached it at the hairpin.
The last of the hairpins, yeah. So that's another spin for Nolan, and another one in a rough position. He's got a gap now that he can spin it around in. Well, is he going?
While you tell me if he gets going, I'll just see what happened here. He was having a look at Cracker, having a real look at Cracker,
and
he had a massive dive on Cracker, and he just didn't get up far. Just got squeezed out and is now beached as Brew.
He is absolutely beached. He hasn't got any purchase on either corner of the car. Swapping it from reverse to first to try and find something, but yeah, he's got nothing. And it looks like Lime Mitch has DNF, so that might be a leg out for him.
And Hobson's now in 11th place. He was one of the pitters. So he has 43 seconds to Rasmussen at the moment.
And Nolan looks like he's DNF'd as well.
Well, he got beached, so that's not a surprise, unfortunately. These curbs, man.
They're so big.
Yeah.
They're jumbo-sized curbs. Oh, and in all that as well, Rasmussen's actually taking the lead.
Oh, what? As I just gave everyone epilepsy by scrolling through the field really fast. Sorry about that. He has got the lead. Turmo's not going anywhere, though. And look, and Hathaway's probably going to chime in. Through the second of the hairpins now, and tell you what, you were talking about before, but he can have so many lines through there, and that just showed it there. Even similar cars, two wildly different lines, two wildly different driving styles.
I was just about to say, Turmo taking a very narrow line there, trying to shorten the distance between each of the hairpins and try and get the turning of the car. Oh, he gets the curb on the exit of turn 10. Woo! Save that. Yeah, so what I was about to say, Rasmussen opening up the corners, trying to get the corners as wide and as open as possible, keep the car flowing. Turmo trying to shorten the distance to each of the corners and trying to stop and start harder out of each one. So two different driving styles and yeah, making pace in different ways. But battle at the front is still very, very tight between the two Tiranas at this stage.
It is, and it looks like it's the battle on track, so let's stay with it as we go around for another lap. Now, if I can do this right, I'm going to jump on board for Damien Rasmussen for a lap. And I have done it right. Excellent.
Well done. I'm proud of you. You're finally working this out.
So yeah, coming through the sweeper here, it's one of those corners just really delicate on the throttle. It's a kind of a low speed sweeper with what, 2 apexes and a short kink to the right, then you're hard on the brakes for the first of the hairpins.
Oh, and it looks like Rasmussen's just locked a little bit of a wheel as Turmo gets really close to the rear there. They both squeeze out the other side and then through the second hairpin in the middle of the corner. Did I just see? Yeah, just quickly, Hathaway's spun it around from 3rd position down to 4th and he's been overtaken. He just got a little wide in the middle of the sweeper. Did he get a little bit of help from Devonish?
Let's just have a look here on replay. Devonish is pretty close to him. Coming through. Well, Devonish has sent it down the inside. No, Devonish just got past him.
Yeah, so it wasn't a
Clean
lose.
move.
Sorry, I just saw it. I saw a blur of red in the background, and that's what I got.
Yeah, that was a nice clean move actually. As I punched my subwoofer. Whoops. Yeah, that's a great move actually.
Oh, Turmo's saved that. Wow. He was full 4-wheel drift coming out of the last corner. So that's given Rasmussen a fair bit of breathing space, and he sets the fastest lap of the race at 42 flat.
Oh boy.
Just for good measure.
As
difference in
all
that
over
last
the
sector.
curve through one.
Just really difference in that last sector, 0.8 of a second between the two cars.
Oh boy.
So that's where that gap's come from.
Nice. Well, I'm going to go down to 7th because Rhodey is in 7th place ahead of, as we see. No, I thought Scotty G may have missed the pin entry there, but no, he's fine. Rhodey about half a second ahead of Stewart in 7th place at the moment.
And further afield, the first of our pit stoppers is now Ozrob. Well, has always been Ozrob. 9th place. He's already rounded up Glenn Miles, and he's only about 8 seconds behind the tail of the field already. So
yeah, but look, he's 5 seconds behind him.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, we saw what happened last race, so
true.
We'll have a look again. I'll keep tabs on that throughout the rest of the race, just to sort of make sure that we keep an eye on it as Rhodey wins from 7th.
Rhodey finds the grassy and the woolly.
Ooh, that did
was
not
a big
look
one.
pretty.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. He did say we can send the trumpets when he finishes the race. You're not going to do it by doing that, buddy.
No thanks.
And there's Hobson right behind him in 10th.
Yeah, so fingers crossed Rhodey hasn't damaged that car, because if he's damaged it, he's got 25 minutes to get it to the end. That's not going to be a fun time.
I mean, he can't come into the pits, I suppose.
Yeah, this is true. He hasn't had that pit stop yet, as Hobson tries to look up the inside, but Rhodey's not making it easy for them. Remember, that is still 4th position, as Hobson has to take the narrow exit and squirt past him down the straight. But with that extra weight, it's not that easy to do that.
But I think Rhodey's been a bit generous there.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, with all due respect, Hobson and Rhodey, they're not really competing.
Not quite.
Yeah. And there's Ozrob 5 seconds up the road, just coming across the line to start lap number 7.
So we've got a bit of a mix here of cars who have taken their pit stop and cars who haven't yet. So it's the top. It's actually worked out really nicely. The top half of the field have taken their pit stop. Haven't taken their pit stop, rather. The bottom half, well, I mean, besides Rhodey, have. So they worked out really well.
It did.
We have only just ticked over the time remaining for the first race, actually. So we've still got basically a full TCAC race 1 length to go at this stage. So the guys who took those early pit stops, they're going to be hoping for a nice, easy cruise to the finish. Otherwise, they're going to be maybe in trouble with some tyres later on in the race.
This is TSAC. When has anything been nice and cruisy?
Yeah, you can say that again. I think I've still got a headache from that Goiânia race.
Just having a look down at 7th place, Stuart and Ozrob right on each other's backsides. Ozrob, now this is a battle for 7th place, but Ozrob is obviously first cut. Oh, yep, and Stuart makes it really easy for him.
The guys who aren't battling for the lead of the race to remember that they're slowing themselves down by holding up the faster drivers. So it's just a matter of knowing who you're racing against, knowing who you've got to be worried about.
Yeah.
As Rhodey sidesteps Scott Morrow, will allow him through.
And in many ways, it's what we see with multi-class. Even though this is one class of race.
Yeah, multi-class kind of adjust themselves out, not letting the guys pass who you might get back at the end as the fuel burn happens. Yep. So it's all a bit of a matter as Ozrob gets held up very badly there in between turns 3 and 4. Matter of knowing who you're racing against.
I was going to say, I don't think Coops did anything wrong there. It was just bad timing.
Yeah, it's just one of those things when you're lapping cars.
And there's the team Playboy Miles car, Glenn Miles in 14th and last of the runners so far. But there's your first retiree, Scott Nolan and Lime Mitch. That car's got a lot of camber on the right hand side.
Yeah.
As race leader Pritt.
Yeah, I was just about to say Rasmussen comes into the pits. Better, cleaner first stint from Rasmussen compared to what we saw last race, where we had a few spins. So hopefully he's able to keep that up. Turmo now inherits the lead and a bit of clear space ahead, which will be good for him because his last lap was a second slower than his best as he runs a bit deep into turn 1 there. So not as clean as he was. Pretty good at this stage of the race. And then it's Rutledge. Now, is Rutledge... Rasmussen's... He's going to come out ahead of Rob. He's going to come out ahead of Rob.
I'm guessing he's done a 2 pit stop thing. Now, if you're Turmo, what do you do?
I tend to always put a premium on having clear air. So I would use the clear air that I've got given now and make sure that I'm able to maximize that and not get myself into any sort of battles.
Now we see
that's what I would be doing.
We see Rasmussen came out ahead of Rutledge, only just.
Yeah, but the thing is, the more important thing is he's coming out ahead of Ozrob and not by a fair way. That gap is in fact 6 seconds between Ozrob and Rutledge.
It is.
So Ozrob and Rasmussen rather. So that's a big play. That's a 2 stop versus 2 tires versus 4 tires sort of play there from Rasmussen.
So we'll see how that plays out at the end as we see Scotty G's also quit this race as well.
Oh, that's a shame.
And
Hathaway's off. Hathaway's off from 3rd. He's dropped down now to 4th place. What's happened there?
Let's bring this up on replay. It doesn't look like his car's damaged. He might just got a bit squirrely on exit of the hairpins. Let's see if we can figure this out. So he's comfortably in... What's he done here? Yep, just looped it coming through... Where are we on track there?
Turn 10, I think that is.
Turn 10, yeah. So, yep, not great. And yeah, the Batmobile gets it done.
So he's now in the pits. Devonish is in the pits as well. So they'll be looking to try and make it out as close as they can to Rasmussen. But Rasmussen
is flying through.
Yeah, so he's already gone. He's well gone. He's down into turn 1 already, and neither of them have moved. In fact, they're going to both go behind Ozrob as well.
Jesus.
I think they might even get done by Hobson. Yep, both of them done by Hobson. So where are they going to slot out is the question.
Well, Devonish is making his way down the pit lane now. He might even slip behind Hathaway here.
Hathaway's in the pits behind him.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not possible.
Yeah. And that sent Stewart off into the grass.
That was very much a bump and run, that.
Yeah, so that'll get looked at post-race, definitely.
And there's Hathaway in 10th place, down the inside of Coops. So what was that a lap down car that caused the issue?
Stewart just hasn't taken his pit stop.
The car that got punted.
Yeah.
As we saw Roddy in the pits as well.
And Turmo's now in the pits as well. So there's the current leader. He's come to make his pit stop.
Yep.
And now this will be important. This will be where we get to see the sort of gain that Rasmussen had, because there were only about a second between Turmo and Rasmussen as they came into the pits. As Rasmussen came to the pits the first time around.
So now we've got Rasmussen on the screen now. He's got 13 seconds and counting down in hand as he comes through the penultimate corner now. And through to the last is Turmo moving. Not as yet. So Rasmussen's going to take him quite easily.
Yeah, very easily in the end. Turmo's only moving now. I wonder if he's going to get done by Ozrob. He's going to fall behind Hobson.
Is he going to fall behind Hobson? Yes,
he is. And he'll slot back in ahead of Devonish, it looks like, as I think that's Morrill off in the background again.
Comfortably ahead of Devonish. So, Rutledge has definitely not pitted yet, yes?
Rutledge hasn't pitted, Cracker hasn't pitted.
Okay.
And I think they're the only two left as we are still... Oh, we've ticked over half race distance now, haven't we?
We have. Ozrob gets through Rutledge nice and easy. Rutledge is realising, not my fight.
Yep, and it's still about 6 seconds between Rasmussen and Ozrob, so it'll be interesting to see how that gap evolves through the latter part of this race. Remember, Ozrob, one of the very early pit stoppers, and Rasmussen must have done something funky in his pit stop, because he came out, he's come out a bunch of time ahead of Turmo as well.
As I realised my microphone was slightly muted, as Cracker now gets a bit squirrely through the penultimate corner, but does not come into the pits. Tell you what, he wouldn't want to leave it too much longer.
Oh, we are just past half race distance, remember? So if you are looking at extending that first pit, first stint, maximising that clear air advantage against the guys that he would be racing against, who'd be more like the Morrells and the Hathways and those sort of guys down in 8th or 9th.
Speaking of Morrell and Hathaway, they've got a bit of a battle going on at the moment.
I think Morrell's had one or two little slides of this race. I think he's finding it very hard to keep the rear of the car in check, which is maybe not meant that we haven't seen the true reflection of his pace. But Hathaway in that Dallara, he's actually done quite a good job, aside from that one little spin that we saw recently.
Absolutely. Now, with 14 and a half to go, where are you putting your money in this race? We've got it pretty well separated at the moment. Go on. Tell me who you're backing.
I think Rasmussen, I think the top three, once Cracker and Rutledge take their pit stops, I think the top three stay the same.
In that order?
Yes, I do. And then I think Turmo and Devonish are pretty well separated, so it'll be a matter of where each of them shake out, and I think Hathaway will be next. So okay. I'm basically saying not too much change is going to happen.
Fair enough.
As Cracker comes into the pits from the lead.
Here we go. So this will cleanse the field now, more or less. As you see, Hobson down the outside of Cam Rutledge.
This could be dangerous here. Rutledge might want to be coming into the pits.
Ooh.
And
he is wanting to come to the pits, I think. Yes,
yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So glad they managed to sort it out. Last thing you would have wanted is one of them chasing the other one off the road.
Well, that's how Hobson got DQ'd from quality of this race, for punting someone off when they were going to the pits.
Yeah.
So that's going to cleanse the field entirely now. So that gives us Damien and Rasmussen 6 seconds ahead of Ozrob, who's 13 seconds ahead of Brenton Hobson. Will Devonish and Cracker is looking tasty.
Yeah, Cracker's just come out of the pit, so he's going to lose a little bit more time. He's actually done very well for himself here. He's come up the grid quite a fair way. Because remember, Devonish and Hathaway were fighting before Hathaway had a little bit of a spin. So for Cracker to slot in between the two of them, that's actually quite an impressive run from Cracker.
Absolutely. Would not surprise me to see that battle as my mouse is on my screen. That's really convenient. Thank you. Wouldn't surprise me to see that battle come together at the end. The question for me is Rasmussen's two-tire strategy going to hold out? I'm not sure with 6 seconds in hand, with what 7-8 laps to go. That's a big ask, isn't it?
But the thing is, both Ozrob and Brenton Hobson took tyres on lap 2. So the difference between taking tyres on lap 2 and running to the end and taking 2 tyres at lap whatever and running a pair of tyres for the whole race is not going to be that much.
That's true. Turmo, he might be the dark horse here, as Rasmussen just sends another fastest lap, a 1:41.7. Get out of town.
Get out of town. Yeah. Turmo's what? 6 seconds back from Hobson as well?
5.5 now, yep.
Everyone's found their own little bit of space on the track. It's about, what? 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds, 6 seconds. And then it's the Hathaway-Murrell battle, which is the closest one on track at the moment.
Yeah, which are being on screen. While I do that, how much bigger is your list of things you hate about Winton?
It's too big.
Is the fact there's locations in country Victoria?
Yeah, mostly the Victoria part compared to the country part.
Oh, the amount you celebrated when we drove to Bathurst and we got through Albury, you were like, yes, we're out of Victoria.
Yeah, that's just the South Australian thing. I can't help that.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to take away from the track because it's always the cars that make the racing, but I just don't think it produces all that interesting to watch racing or all that interesting to watch strategy in terms of the real racing. This TCAC sort of stuff, though, TCAC sort of stuff goes off all the time, every time. We don't get a choice.
Particularly this, and we're looking here at Scott Murrell getting really close to Hathaway now. This is on, my friend.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Murrell, if he's smart here, he'll think about making the move at 11, take a wide line through here and try and cut back the apex and try and get the undercut. So he takes a little bit of a narrow line. He was thinking about it a little bit. He's got a decent run, but I don't think he's that close enough to at least to send it down the inside. So wait a bit longer. But in general, that the Murrell car, the Martini, the purple and yellow car, looks a lot more stable at the moment than what Hathaway's Dallara is. That might just be driving style. It looks like Hathaway's getting a bit long in the braking zones consistently, as we have a new fastest lap set by Will Devonish, 41.4 out of nowhere. Wow.
Tell you what, turn 3. I reckon turn 3 is going to be Scott Murrell's best bet. If he can get a good run through the chicane here.
And Hathaway might have just helped with a little lock up on the outside.
Yes, it looks like the Porsche has got a great run there, but it can't quite do anything with it yet.
Yeah, the problem is the Dallara is just a little bit of a power packet. It can get out of the corners really, really well, and at a point and shoot sort of track like this, it's actually probably a bit more of an advantage to have that better acceleration than it is to have the overall better performing car. So it looks like Hathaway's got it for the moment, but I don't think it will be long before Murrell sends it.
With 8 minutes 51 seconds to go plus 1 lap, you may as well say, hey, I just saw a Cracker going slow ahead of them too.
Yeah, so that could become a 3-way battle before you know it.
Yeah. Let's see if we can just figure out quickly what happened to Cracker. Is it going to let me go back far enough? Here we go.
Ooh.
Oh, Cracker just got it horribly wrong to the first of the hairpins. Oh boy.
Yeah, he went full rallycross there.
He did. Ooh, that's not great. And he's going to give these guys a sniff. Meanwhile, Devonish is closing in on Turbo at a rate of knots as well.
Man, it's all happening. We had a little bit of a quiet period, and now everything's going off.
Just like that sentence, it just trailed off into nothing.
Whoops, my bad.
Devonish is really on it. He's just looking at the way he went through the chicane there. He's not leaving anything on track now.
Well, remember, he did just set the fastest lap 1 or 2 laps ago, so he has got the ponies beneath him, so to speak. So what was that last lap? It was a 42.1 versus a 43.3.
Holy
so
boy.
yeah, Termo's going to be struggling again. So we might see the fourth run of fourths for Will Devonish if he can outdo Termo to come through the turn 7 hairpin.
I thought you were only joking about winning this championship by coming fourth every race.
I mean, consistency gets results.
Meanwhile, back at the 6th, 7th day, we have Murrell having a look down the inside of Cracker into the hairpin at 7 and gets it done. Great move.
So that was Hathaway there on the inside. So great work there. And that's probably one of my favourite moves to set up around this track as well. Now, Hathaway's bolted here and Cracker's found himself sandwiched between where he wants to be and where Murrell wants to be. So Murrell could get stuck here as well as he slides out of that last hairpin. And if Murrell gets stuck, say goodbye to catching Hathaway because Hathaway's already half a second, a full second down the road.
That's why the Porsche's having a great little peek down the inside into 10. And the Batmobile does go a bit very wide, in fact, and that position's done.
Yeah, but the gap's already a second and a half. So a second and a half between Murrell and Hathaway, pardon me. Just for having to process through Cracker. So that's a bit of a breathing space for Hathaway to work in. And also, Devonish has made the move on Termo.
And it's got turn 1 horribly wrong and given Termo a chance to get back.
So Termo, he's got the run here. Is he going to be able to dive up to 3? Not quite. But Will, I don't know what happened to Will there. He'd made the move already. He made the move a while ago. Termo must have had a mistake in the last sector there. And then yeah, Devonish just went way.
He went deeper than your internet is trying to go to get you a decent voice connection at the moment.
Hey, I did that on purpose.
That's what they will say. So yeah, this is livening up a bit, except for out front. That's Rasmussen 6 seconds ahead of Oswald, who's 10 seconds ahead of Devonish of Hobson.
So yeah, I said the top 3 would stay as is, didn't I?
You said everyone would stay as is, and that's clearly not happening as Termo lights it up coming out of the final bit of the hairpin. Coming to 10 now and is good second and a half down now.
Yeah, it's been amazing how quickly Devonish has been able to step away. I wonder why. It seems that Devonish has got the pace beneath him. He just hasn't been able to use it at the time that it's counted, because he's what, 6 seconds behind Hobson, and he'd do very well to catch up 6 seconds with only 5 minutes left in this race.
Oh no, absolutely. We've seen Cracker's dropped back a bit as well, so looks like the elastic has broken with Hathaway and Murrell 2.5 seconds now. So even after that battle, Hathaway's continued to pull away, and then I've got that traffic in the form of Benjamin Rhodes as well.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. As soon as you get out of the zone, out of watching the bumper, out of trying to make that move, you can just kind of find yourself a little lost, and I think that's what's happened to Murrell. Remember, he was one of the early pit stoppers as well, so he might have used up all his tyre trying to make that move, and then having the interruption of traffic might have been... Oh, it's actually Hathaway goes off ahead of him.
I saw that.
So it's to what I just said. It's going to be back on.
As Rhodey makes it really tough from Scott Murrell as well, coming through.
Bloody Rhodey.
Yeah.
Bloody Rhodey. That's right.
So, and that little indiscretion by Hathaway's cost him 0.8 of a second.
It's amazing how quick it all goes away, doesn't it? Mistake as they all file their way through the hairpin. They've managed to sort themselves out. So whereabouts are we? So it's about a second and a half, and then a second and a half. So Scott Morrell was perfectly in between Cracker and Hathaway.
Yep.
And neither of them. I'll keep an eye on the lap times, but it doesn't seem like there's any advantages to be gained or lost between the two of them at this stage. We've got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left in this race.
While you're playing with lap times, just check out how Rasmussen and Oswald, because that gap seems to have come down quite significantly, just quickly.
Yeah, and that was because Rasmussen made a mistake in Sector 1. It was 2.5 seconds slower that lap around compared to Ozrob.
I mean, the gap's still 5.5, but it's by no means a done deal just yet. As we come across with probably 3 laps to go.
So I'm trying to figure out if any of the cars are going to converge together late in the race based on the gaps on track and the lap times. And I actually think we might see Devonish and Hobson squeeze together late in the race. Last time around, Devonish set a 42.1, which is, you know, a pretty decent lap at this end of the race. Hobson was a 43.5, and
well, let's not forget, Hobson will be fuel saving like no one's business.
Fuel saving, tire saving, life saving, basically.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's a little bit every single sector, and that's okay if it's just every single sector and it's a little bit. As soon as it starts being chunks, and if you make a mistake in that, big chunks, then you're going to be in trouble. It was already 2.5 tenths of the first sector this lap. Hobson's just come through the second sector marker. Devonish has come through as well. I'm waiting for the sector times to show up on my screen. That was actually remarkably even. So Hobson's done a pretty good job there. I wonder if he's got enough in the tank to be able to burn it now to make sure that Devonish doesn't come up behind him.
Well, Devonish running wide through the second to last corner ain't going to help his cause either. Took a bit of a jump over the pit entry road. So that certainly is not going to help his cause. Apart from that, Hathaway Murrell seems to be closing up again. It's now less, you can see on screen. They're within half a second again.
Just quickly on that Hobson-Devonish battle, 4 tenths in the last sector towards Devonish. So it's not done yet, and Hobson has encountered some traffic in the form of Coops and Gary Neville in the faster part of the track. So we could, with only just a minute left, hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. We could see some feisty battling at the end of this race.
Meanwhile, Hathaway and Murrell coming through turn 3, sorry. As Murrell locks up a brake, but still manages to keep it on the road, and he's 2 tenths of a second now. This is going to be on to the end. I'm surprised to see the Porsche send a last-minute dive, perhaps through the third of the hairpins.
Last minute, try right now. Oh, Hathaway locks up and goes wide. Murrell's got the inside line and gets it done. Closes the door, slams the door in front of Hathaway. And yes, shuts that move out. And finally, after about eight minutes, as we just get ready for times to tick over, gets the move done.
Told you it was going to be last minute.
Oh yeah, good call on that one.
Yeah.
What else to be last minute? That battle now between Hobson and Devonish. First sector 36.3 versus a 35.2. Second sector 36.8 versus a 36.5. And they're just about to cross the line. The gap is now down to 2 seconds as they start the final lap of the race.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that traffic really took a lot out of Hobson, and he's struggling in sectors 1 and 2 with the extra weight of the car. That last time around, 8 tenths in that last sector as well. So it's becoming chunks, but he's very lucky. It's only one more lap that Devon's just got to work with here.
Half a lap here, and once he gets through the hairpin, he's probably through the hardest part of it.
Yeah, but as the lap goes on, we heard from Hobson in the interim, he's losing so much more in that last sector as well. So we'll keep an eye on it, but not looking pretty if you're a Hobbo fan. He might scrape through. It'll be about half a second at the end, I reckon.
All right, we'll check that out as we see Damien Rasmussen making his way through the final of the hairpins, coming through to turn 10 to finish off what will be a great win for him.
Yeah, very calm. Played the longer race and made that strategy call that rocketed him up the order, and he's just been able to keep hold of that position ever since.
Yes, coming through the penultimate corner. No curb, no risk. Last thing you want to do is throw it away. So you come through the last corner now and a short run up to the finish line. And Damien Rasmussen, I think this is his first win here at TCAC. Congratulations, sir. The 2-2-1 Tirana. Great win. Second place will be Ozrob in the Porsche. That's a pair of seconds for the evening. No, it's not the first and second, sorry.
Yep.
and Hobson with a third and a second. Tell you what, Devonish gave it everything, but he's going to finish 1.7 seconds behind in fourth.
Oh, if he hadn't sprayed it wide at the last corner, he would have been a lot closer. Turmo rounds out the top 5, and then it will be Morrill in 6th place, just ahead of Hathaway. Their battle continuing all the way to the very end of the race. Very good battle between the two of them. Cracker with that strategy play will drop into 8th place, and then it looks like it will be Cam Rutledge, Stewart missing 3/4 of a Porsche bodywork. And then Rhodey and Glenn Miles will round out the finishers. Oh, and Coops as well, who's already finished a few laps down.
Yep.
We had Scotty G, Scott Nolan, and Lime Mitch, the non-finishers. Great race from Rasmussen in the end there. And
Isn't it?
I think he made up for what was the spin that he had in race 1.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
It just shows you don't have to have wheel-to-wheel battling to have a good race there.
No, but the wheel-to-wheel helps. The wheel-to-wheel helps.
Does help, as we just saw. There we go. I'll get to see the Cracker Racing Team boys on stream going formation finish with half a Porsche and a very wide Beamer, as there's Rhodey in the background parked up and broken. Don't you love it?
Don't you just love TCAC?
Oh, it's great fun.
Yeah, and we've got our race winner in the booth with us, Damien Rasmussen. Congratulations on your first TCAC Retro round win.
Thank you. Rob had me a little bit worried at the end there. I got caught up with a lapped car, and I was going to wait till the straight to pass it, but it decided it wanted me to go to the inside, and I tapped the back of it, and Rob caught me by a few seconds, but luckily I had a bit of a gap.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out how you gained that time in the middle section of the race, because it seemed that you were what very close to Turmo before the pit stops, and then after the pit stops you were a good few seconds ahead of him. What sort of strategy do you do to get that sort of gap? Was there a strategy call?
No, maybe not.
No, maybe not. Maybe he's dead.
Sorry, wheel cut out. Convenient timing. I'm glad that happened after the race. I wanted to hold Turmo off for most of the first bit of the race, because I knew that part of it, I think he was pretty close to me with the draft included. So I knew if I could get a bit of clean air and get him away from me by pitting a bit early in him, I could put in a few quick laps without him being right behind me. So it must have been enough just to pull that bit of a gap.
Nice, well done. First race win of the series, 15 kilos for the next race at Sandown. It's one of the unfortunate perks of the win. How do you feel heading into the next round of the series?
Well, the car will be 15 kilos heavier. I've never drove Sandown, so yeah, we'll be optimistic. Do a bit of practice and just.
Word of advice: flat out through turn 6.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong, as I think his wheel cut out again. So congratulations, Damien. And we'll move on to second place getter for the evening, Rob. First in race 1 this evening, second in race 2. It's a pretty good haul for Winton.
Yeah, I'll take that. I can't be too unhappy about that. Good on you, Damien. Pulled the right strategy. I did get held up by a few back markers, I think that's where it all went. So, but yeah, can't be too displeased with that at all.
25 kilos going on to your car for the next race, though. That's something to consider, isn't it? Always a bit of a win when you hear that, is it?
Look, it's all fair, I guess. So that's what we got to live with. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So you took the early pit stop in race 2. Were you finding that it was hard to manage the tyres at the end of the race, or was it just keep going flat out from start to finish?
Pretty flat out from start to finish, but the last probably 5 laps, the tyres were pretty stuffed. Hitler's favourite car was struggling, basically. So I was pushing the VW as much as I could, but no. Yep. But anyway, we'll see how the next one goes.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Third place was Brenton Hobson. Brenton, a bit of a quiet race from you. You kind of just plodded along once you got into that decent position. Was Will Devonish frightening you at the end there?
Yeah, he was certainly a little quicker than I was at the end. I didn't really think I'd be in too much trouble. It was just the traffic, trying to get through the traffic on that second last lap that cost me a couple of seconds. But yeah, it was a pretty quiet race, like you said. I just didn't get as good of a start in race 2 as he did in race 1, and sort of just got left in no man's land and cut laps to the end pretty much. But sometimes an uneventful race is a good one.
At least it's a nice and clean race as well. Now, you've had so far this series 2 wins, a second place, and a third. So you're leading the championship probably. I haven't checked the maths on that, but you're definitely leading the has the most weight on for the next race. 45 kilos for Sandown. Is that weight number beginning to get a bit scary already?
I can't wait. It's Sandown's a bit of an interesting one too, because you've got a couple of really slow corners with long straights after them. So I can't wait to struggle with that. I don't know. We'll see how we go. I do like Sandown. It's a good fun track, but it might be a little more apparent next week once we're around some of the cars that aren't carrying weight, just how much it affects us. But we'll see how we go. It can't be helped. That's the way it is. So hopefully we can just keep banking podiums every time we hit the track. But if we don't have to start from last on the grid, that will certainly help. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It was a bit easier last week.
You were off pole last time.
Yeah, that's right. We got 2 poles last week and 2 wins this week. I'm happy with a second and a third from the back row in both races. So we'll just do the best we can. That's all we can do.
Fair enough. Congratulations on your double podium. And rounding out the top 4, again, Will Devonish, fourth place for the series.
Yeah, that was perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, all right.
No, I really wanted that third. I was pushing real hard in that last after the pit stops, and it's a couple of mistakes, but I reckon I could have gotten Hobbo if there was 2 more laps in it.
Yeah, well, I was tracking the lap times as it was coming down. It was until you sprayed it 1 or 2 corners from the end. You're taking a bit of a maybe not a positional advantage, but definitely you're gonna have a bit of a weight advantage over the likes of Ozrob and Hobbo. And the next round, we're gonna see the little, what is it, an Opal at the top of the field of the next race.
I reckon. I think the next track is Sandown, which is possibly my favourite track. So it's the one I've done the most laps ever around. So I think I'll hopefully do all right next week.
Fingers crossed. And if not, if worse comes to worse and you get another pair of 4, well, then at least you won't have any more weight to put on.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations, Will. And I think that wraps up everything from this evening's action at Winton.
Fantastic. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was absolutely fantastic to commentate on. I'm sure it's fantastic to race in as well. Thank you, Michael, for joining me this evening.
No problems.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. I won't see you in 2 weeks' time, but hopefully you'll be back to watch the guys at Sandown. Until then, good night.
Peace out.